I talked about the proposition that certain critical infrastructure should be off limits to attack, period, by cyber or any other means. I gave them a list. If I'm not mistaken, I don't have it in front of me, 16 specific entities, 16 defined as critical infrastructure under U.S. policy, from the energy sector to our water systems.
That is President Biden telling reporters yesterday he gave President Vladimir Putin a list of U.S. sectors that should remain free from Russian cyber attacks. The president also said both sides agreed to have experts in their countries work on specific understandings about what's off limits. Joining us now to discuss is Jeff Birner, cybersecurity and IT expert, IT consulting founder and CEO. Jeff, good to see you, and thanks so much for coming on. I'm going to have you weigh in on this. I want to take a look at this full list of critical infrastructure, as there are 16 items, I believe, the president pointed out. Among them, so many things, I believe, our water supply, our energy sector, IT as well. There it is there on your screen. Nuclear, transportation, dams. I mean, you can go on and on and on, but 16 off-limit sectors. But Jeff, as looking at that, you can analyze the list if you want, but also this, how does Biden expect to enforce this checklist that he gives Putin? Are there any additional ones that need to be on there?
Well, thank you for having me, first and foremost, and I appreciate the opportunity to speak on your program. The 16 sectors that he has outlined for the list he gave, I believe, are very critical infrastructure, for the United States. But there are 17 million companies, I believe, is the accurate number here in the U.S., and 16 sectors can cover a plethora of companies involved and agencies involved. So I think that right now, all companies, including every division within these sectors, should be reviewing their cybersecurity platforms and make a decision to enhance, or they're going to be, unfortunately, one of those that could be complaining to the FBI every single day, as the complaints are up for up to almost 2,000 complaints per day.
Well, that kind of, let's take a little different route to the approach of this conversation, because let's say this list may be known as critical infrastructure, right, to our country, and you give that list over to President Putin. Putin may already know it, but maybe there's a lesser country that doesn't know how important some of these things are to us. Is that customary to give a roadmap to our most critical parts of our infrastructure?
I don't believe so. I think it was, a little odd that, the United States critical infrastructure was pointed out, 16 of them.
Yeah.
And I think that is a well-known, it's published, online. You can see what our infrastructure sectors are. But for, like you said, for smaller countries or for even individuals, there are thousands, tens of thousands of hackers out there. If we're looking at 2,000 complaints per day, I don't believe that, giving a roadmap was probably the ultimate idea, but I think it also draws a line in the sand. It says we know that we are dealing with over 700,000 complaints in a year pertaining to cybersecurity attacks that are actually reported. So drawing a line in the sand to say, if these sectors are attacked, we are going to retaliate. I guess it has pros and cons to the comment.
And it didn't stop there. Putin actually suggesting yesterday Russia is not the leading source of cyber attacks on America and other countries, but there's another country top of list. Listen.
U.S. sources claim that the majority of cyber attacks are made from the U.S. territory. Then the second one is Canada, then two Latin American states, and then the U.K. As for Russia, it is not listed in this ranking of countries that see the significant number of cyber attacks from their territory.
All right. Obviously, taking the Russian leader, right, what he wants to say on that stage. But nevertheless, is there any truth in that the United States, there are cyber attacks that happen on our soil?
Well, I am a proud American and proud of the amount of intelligence our cyber community has. But it is well known that cyber attacks, in all forms, do originate from other countries outside of Russia. Russia, I have looked, I have researched multiple publications, and I do see them in the top 10. I do see them in the top 5. But, it was a fair assessment that they were not 1 or 2, in that, we do have a large cyber community here in the United States. So I would have said probably the same thing. We're not number 1 if we weren't. And that is accurate, what he said.
All right, we'll leave it right there. We appreciate your time understanding this. To help us understand it, rather, Jeff Birner joining us live. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Have a great day.